on and teach us, because Haley indirectly learned from Raphael, who's learned from me, learned from Hector, and essentially you were their favorite speakers. So Chris, I'm so excited about us being on together, buddy. But I want to introduce Haley first, because Haley's going to open with our biggest fundamental, which is personal activity, right? Chris and I, this thing starts with the fundamentals of personal activity. So Haley, you can go ahead and share a screen if you want to, but in the last 11 months, you've been with the business, you've been licensed about 4 years, something like that?
5.
5 years. You just turned 30 years old. You're a Boilermaker by trade, and you do this, you do one appointment a day. How do you, right now, all your appointments that come to you are coming through referrals, Calendly, social media. Tell you about how your appointments come to you today, what you're getting from this, and maybe how you started getting your appointments, your personal activity. Go ahead.
So I was actually on the phone with Ralph and Kelsey last night talking about it too. And I got a text at 9 o'clock at night. Somebody booked a KTP meeting with me on Zoom. No idea who they are, never talked to them. They were a referral. My system worked. My client sent them the link. They booked a meeting, and I have it for Monday afternoon. So that's how I fill my schedule. I train my clients to, like, don't refer me. Don't give out my number blindly. I want you to refer me and, like, in the moment, share my Calendly link with them and get them to go on it and book. I don't want to cold call people that you referred me to. I want them to just go ahead, book a meeting. Because that's where we're losing people when we get referred is, okay, now they got to reach out to me, or I have to reach out to them. And it's kind of awkward. What do you say to somebody when you're cold texting or calling them? Everybody hates it. It's the worst part of the job, is reaching out to somebody you don't know yet. But if your client is actively just sharing your link, people are going in there, they already know what their schedule is, and they're seeing what your availability is, and they're booking. And then I have like a little box when they book to leave like notes if they would like to. And a lot of time they pretty much tell me their entire financial situation in this little square. So before I even sit down with them, I know why they're sitting down with me. I know who referred them. I can send a thank you to the person that referred me, so they want to do it again because they received something. They received recognition for them referring me. That's a big one. You gotta recognize your clients that refer you, because they want to be recognized too. Everybody does, right?
Yep.
Wow. So I have it set up.
Excellent.
I have it set up so it's automated. I don't want to do the back and forth texts for figuring out schedules. Even if somebody does call me or text me and say like, hey, I was referred by so-and-so, I'd like to book. I'm like, are you okay if I share my calendar with you? Then you can just pick whatever date and time works. And they're like, yeah, that works. Because nobody wants to go back and forth. Oh, Tuesday. Oh, no, that doesn't work. Oh, Friday. Oh, no. So it saves a lot of time and it fills my schedule.
So Haley, your majority of your appointments are coming from referrals of clients?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Like I'm very bad. We were talking about this at Success Lines. I am terrible at asking for referrals. I actually just avoid the conversation completely. But I'll post like on social media, like saying like, taking on new clients this year or this month or whatever. And then my clients see that, right? Because they have me on social media. That's where they found me. And then in their brain, they're like, oh, she's taking people. I got to refer her to someone.
Excellent.
And what's interesting is, of course, Chris and I started before there was social media, before there even was cell phones, right? So what's interesting, but the interesting is the fundamentals still apply. But how did you start? Like, obviously you do a fantastic job for your clients, which is fundamental. I mean, presentation, carry back, service, whatnot. But how did you tell Chris and everybody else who's listening how you got your business started, your first year or two in the business? How did you get it started before you got the social media and Calendly referrals?
I spun my wheels a lot on social media. There is a lot to learn about what we're allowed to post, especially in Canada. I think it's worse than the US.
It's more restrictive in the US in terms of what we can post. It's more restrictive in
I think it's more restrictive in Canada. Our regulators up here are pretty strict. Like it's not just Primerica, it's where you hold a license, right? Like, so there's rules from 2 doors, and I hold 8 provinces. Like I'm licensed in 8 provinces. So that's a lot of regulators that I need to make sure I don't tick off. I don't want to lose my license.
Just one thing, for all our American friends, including my buddy Chris, there's 52 states in the US, or 51, or we're supposed to be the 51st. I can't remember what we're supposed to be, but there's 10 provinces in Canada, 2 territories, and Haley is licensed in every province. Chris, just out of curiosity, how many RVP, you got 80 RVPs, how many states are you in?
Like 15 states.
15 states. Okay.
15 states, yeah.
That's what I thought. I thought you started off in Las Vegas, Nevada, but
Right.
you're all over the place, right?
Yep, yep.
Yeah, awesome. So okay, going back to Haley again. So she's licensed in all 10 provinces in Canada, I think. So that was easy.
8.
Oh, eight out of 10. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep on going. How did you get your business started in those 8 provinces?
So my sister's RCMP, so like I work with a lot of RCMP. I
Oh, and again,
started
I'm sorry, Chris.
obviously.
RCMP is Royal Canadian Mounted Police, so it's a big police force in Canada. That's her sister is there, and they have a crappy insurance. And so, go ahead, Haley. Yeah.
So like during my training with RAF, my sister and my brother-in-law both work for the police. So when he left for like a municipal police force and then came back, and when we were doing the KTP, we actually figured out that they missed enrolling him in his life insurance when he came back to the Canadian
Okay.
police force. So they had been working up north in like a northern post that like you basically don't want to work at for a couple years. It's a little more dangerous up there, and he had no life insurance at all. So that kind of sparked something in them to like, they made a lot of posts on social media themselves, like, hey, you guys need to check your insurance through work because this is what just happened to us. So it was nothing really that I did, but by sitting down, doing the KTP properly, looking through everything, not just, oh, you have insurance through work, that's great. I was like, I want a copy of it. I want to keep that on file. I do that with all my clients. I'm like, that's great that you have insurance through work, but I would like to see it because I want to put it on VBS and attach it to your life insurance with me, because when you pass, my goal is to make it as easy as possible for your spouse. And
Okay.
they're not going to know where to find all these files. And when you do things like, oh, in a way that your clients feel that you're doing what's best for them, like, even if it's not just business, you get a lot of referrals out of it because they want other people to feel helped. Everybody around you always want, if they can be helped by somebody, you always refer someone, right? It's our nature as humans. You don't want people around you to suffer.
Yeah, we have.
But I started
that creates the big heart that all primary, no matter whether we're in Nevada, whether we're in Victoria, Regina, Florida, wherever we're at, the one thing that's common for all Primerica people is we have that heart. And that's what Chris, he said, hey, Barry, I love the building of the business, but I want to do the F&A. I want to do what's right for people. And that's why I'm staying with Primerica. That would have been 1990, 91 in those days, eh, Chris, when all that shit happened?
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, go ahead. Yes.
I wasn't even born yet.
No, you weren't born.
So Haley, you're part-time and your goal is to do 1 appointment a day?
So yeah, I want to do 1 appointment a day when I'm off.
Okay.
But that doesn't, when I'm working, typically I like to only have like 3 appointments a week because I work 12-hour night shift plus like a drive. So usually it's like a 14-hour day. But that doesn't usually work out anymore. Now I'm finding I'm getting too many people booking or calling or texting, and my schedule just gets really full really quick. But the first 2 years I was in the business, I spun my wheels on social media. I felt like everything I was doing wasn't working. And I think the biggest thing that I was trying to think of this the other day, what changed and why did I start getting clients and people coming to me off social media? I stopped focusing on selling people something and I started focusing on solving their problems. People don't want to buy things from you, but they do want their problems fixed. So when especially if you're on social media a lot, if you're just posting about products and products and products, it's kind of like somebody who used to sell Avon. Nobody wants to talk to you anymore. People avoid you like the plague when they go to your like mom groups or sports events because they don't care about this Avon. But when you switch over to your child is saving for a house, or like you're building wealth to pass down to your kids, but do you know how you're going to do that? And they're like, no, I have no idea. I just put money in an account at the bank and hope it's working. And I'm like, oh, so they didn't build you a retirement plan, but you blindly trust them. Wow. And I'm like, would you be open to a second opinion? And most people are
Love
like, why
that.
would I not get a second opinion?
Yeah.
It's it's the way you word things is going to be a big difference in how you're going to open to your market. Like my market, obviously a lot different. I work with police officers on one hand where I'm a little bit nicer too. And then on the other side, I work with tradespeople and oil field people, and I'm very direct with them. I tell them, I'm like, listen, I know you make a lot of money, and if you don't smarten the heck up, you're going to be broke the rest of your life. So we're going to put stuff together so that you can get your stuff together and retire one day. And they're like, okay, what do you want me to do?
So do you approach it? So like Chris was an electrician to start with, and you're a boiler maker. Do you approach people in the trades? Do you approach mostly men? Because that's more a male dominated trade. Like you're kind of unique in that trades field, right? So tell
Yeah.
us how, so do you approach them like face to face? Do you approach them on social media? How do you approach your trades, your fellow trade workers?
If a business owner repeatedly likes a lot of my posts, or like on LinkedIn, if you paid for it, you can see who's viewed your profile for the last 365 days. So if somebody
Okay.
repeatedly looks at my profile, I might send them a message like, hey, thanks for checking out my page. If you ever have any questions, let me know. Open that door. But I don't send
Hmm.
cold messages otherwise. If a business owner repeatedly looks at my page, I do a lot of traveling, like to go see clients. I will stop at their business and be like, hey, and because I might be an advantage having red hair, like dyed red hair. But I've gone to like events where there's trade shows, and walking around, people will holler at me and be like, hey, I have you on LinkedIn. I recognized your hair. So that helps
Oh,
open the
wow.
door too. But I make a
No
lot of posts.
kidding.
Like I try not, I want my face on everything. I don't want people to think of my business as, oh, it's like some people have had bad experiences with Primerica and they're still my clients because they don't think of me as the company. I am the company. I always tell people that we recruit, I'm like, you're not selling Primerica, you're selling yourself because you are the person that's going to be sitting down with them. There's not somebody from head office that comes and sits with this person at their annual reviews. You're what you're selling. Your services, your attitude, your abilities is what you're selling. And then you use products that Primerica gives us access to help your client.
And what I heard you say, a couple of things here. You train your clients how to refer you. You don't sell product. You don't cold message on social media. You thank people for looking at your profile, whatever. But you build a relationship on social media before you and ask them a question. That's your process, right? You don't
Yeah, I
cold
never
cold prospect. You don't. Okay.
yeah, like if they're always on my social media, then I'll be like, hey, like thanks for liking all of my posts, really appreciate it. How you can see right on their profile what they do for work. How's work at so and so job site? I don't ever talk about my stuff because when
Huh.
they're ready, they ask me about it, and then that's 100% closed deal. As soon
Right.
as
And so
somebody comes to you for your services, it's easy close.
yeah. And what I see is if you use, because you know where they work and you know what they do, if you're in their area, you can stop into that business potentially. So you actually get out of your car and walk into the business or walk to the job site. Is that right?
Yeah.
Huh. And then basically face
You
on
got
with
to
the guy
connect with
saying
people
you,
on their
yeah,
level.
right.
It's not about you
Well
anymore,
said.
it's about them.
Huh. And it's interesting because in building up our activity levels, Chris's primary when he spoke with Brad, and I know Chris's formula. Chris was Sundays. His part-time team, they got together, they made calls, they set up all their appointments on Sundays. And because we started more on the full-time side of the business, my appointment setting philosophy was setting, making calls every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That was so I didn't do Sunday calls like Chris did, group setting. I did Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So it's two different approaches, but it was a consistency, right, Chris? It's a consistent process of
Well,
setting
the way I looked at
appointments.
it was, the way I looked at it was, I remember when I went full time in the business, and I went to the Monday broadcast, and Art Williams was running the Monday broadcast, and he talked about paying your bills through your own personal production. Okay, hold on
Yeah,
one second.
yeah.
He said you got to pay your bills through your own personal production. So it's like my first like full-time Monday morning managers meeting, and Art Williams, I felt like he was talking to me. He said, you got to pay your bills through your own personal production. and don't let Monday start that you don't have 8 qualified kitchen table appointments set. So that like hit me like a ton of bricks because I'm scared to death. I just went full time. I'm like, man. And so, you know, at that time, kind of like what you said, Haley, is, you know, you're getting super busy right now. So it's almost like I got to the point where I was training people. I was busy with referrals. I mastered the Bob Safford third-party referral system. And that's what kept me super busy also. And then I just remember, and I was just focusing on them appointments, and I would be, man, if I didn't have those appointments set up, it seemed like my whole week was chaos when I, you know, throughout the week. So what I started doing is one Sunday night, I got on the phone, I started setting appointments. I started thinking like, man, everybody I call, I'm getting appointments with, you know, or they're answering the phone and I'm getting appointments. So I started really thinking about this. And I said, you know what, if you think about it, our market is middle and upper middle America. And most everybody is busy during the week with their jobs. On Saturdays, they're doing all their little chores and honeydew things. And on Sunday, most people about 5 o'clock at night start winding down because they're getting ready for work on Monday. And I thought about my family. I came from you know, my parents, I have, there's 7 kids in our family. And when I was growing up, it was always on Sunday night. We'd be around the TV, you know, watching TV after dinner and just kind of chilling because we had school in the morning. So I started looking at that. And so I started making my calls on Sunday night, and I got more accomplished on Sunday night for 2 hours on the phone than I did, you know, maybe 8 hours throughout the week. And so I started doing that, and I started getting more appointments. I started booking my schedule. So what I mainly did was, you know, obviously I'd try and set up recruiting appointments if I didn't have the credibility to set up a kitchen table appointment with a prospect or whatever. And so I would set up those appointments at 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock at night. I would set up a kitchen table appointment at 6, a kitchen table appointment at 7, and I'm talking qualified kitchen table appointment. So what is a qualified kitchen table appointment? That's a husband and wife, married, kids, homeowners, good jobs, you know, a 4 to 6 pointer. And so I just started getting results. And from when I started doing that, I started like month in, month out for years upon years, probably a good 6, 7 years straight. I would close probably 8, 10, 12 sales a month. I'd recruit 3, 4, 5 people a month consistently every month. And I just started growing my business, became an RVP, got the $100,000 ring. And then all that, you know, chaos happened like you talked there, Barry, and then, you know, the greatest thing happened, which most people is devastated from, and I was for about maybe an hour, but my upline quit. I called up Hector Lamarck and I said, Hector, remember me? We played golf in Hawaii together and we met on this trip. And he goes, oh yeah, how you doing? And I said, a long story short, you know, I said, listen, my upline quit. I want to see if the company can transfer me to you. Because I don't have an upline now. I think I was only about 27 years old and I needed more leadership and started working with Hector and working my schedule and the product knowledge and the 7 fundamentals got better and better. My communication skills, because of Tom Hopkins, overcoming objections and closing, started becoming better and better and more results. So those, you know, those 8 or 10 kitchen table appointments in a week, my results dramatically increased. And then my income went to $300,000, $500,000, $1 million over about an 8 or 10 year period. And it was just like clockwork. It was just like, so, you know, just so, it just grew and grew and grew and grew for, you know, it was just amazing. And so I think that the key for me was, you know, middle America is home on Sunday night. And I started doing it. And then when you're doing it and you're getting results, it's easy for your team to copy and duplicate because you're getting results. It's obvious. And so, you know, that made a big impact to me.
And you know, when Chris said Chris is Primerica's 53rd $1 million earner. Back in the days, this was in 2000, you made $1 million, didn't you, Chris? Something like that?
Yep.
And so that was the days when $1 million was like $2 or $3 million today. So Chris really set that pattern. And one of the interesting things is we talk about this, is that I'm listening to Chris. I'm going, that's exactly what I did. 2 appointments a night, 4 nights a week, 8 appointments, 1 or 2 recruiting interviews every week, all that. The difference in where I lived on the kind of the west coast of Canada, it was more of a lot of people worked on the weekends and had Mondays and Tuesdays off because it was kind of a tourist area, right? So I had to adapt from the Sunday night stuff to my philosophy. So you got to adapt your prospecting and setting appointments philosophy, I guess, to where you live. And in Haley's situation, similarly, she because in her trades world, you just stop into people that are business people, right? I mean, so it's Chris and I did a lot of everything was on the phone, right, Chris? We did on the phone. We got a list of names. Chris used to prospect a lot. Chris's prospecting is different than my prospecting and is different than Haley's prospecting. So you got to pick which is your personality style and your youth and do with that. So let's talk about prospecting style for a quick sec. Let's spend maybe 2 minutes each on that. Haley, you go first. What's your prospecting style? What do you when you prospect, if you have to, because you actually don't have to because everyone's calling you now. But what was your prospecting style?
Still do prospect. Like I will go on my socials and find people that I want to work with, and I will leave like meaningful engagement, like comments. Some business owners will post like, oh, like what do you think I should do with this? I comment on those things. I want to be seen consistently. Even businesses that I closed with, I comment on a lot of their things because other business owners are obviously following them. I want to be seen. Like I want my face to pop up every time someone turns around. And I don't want it to just be because I'm in their DMs. I want it to be because they see me, oh, like she must work with him. She comments on all his business stuff. I should reach out to her and get her to work with me. And it works. I get people that reach out and they're like, hey, I seen you comment on so and so. I'm a buddy of his. I'd like to work with you. And I'm like, I actually don't work with that guy yet. But I will work with you because then I will get that guy, right? It works. Like people's psychology, they want to work with somebody that feels familiar. And if your face is always there, your name's always popping up, you become familiar. You're not some foreign person that's trying to sell them something.
And see, I love that. And Chris, if we in building a business today, look at the young people that what they can do with our fundamental knowledge. Chris, what was your prospecting style, and what would you do today if you were prospecting again? What was your prospecting style?
Well, first of all, I think what you got to do is the opportunity that we have, you got to pick what business model that you want. Either you want to build a business and have, be in the distribution of Primerica, or you want to be like a, financial advisor and have your clients and build a book of business. And I chose the business model of building a big base shop that'll produce regional vice presidents. Once you get about a $50,000 base shop built, 50,000 plus, when you got about, a good 8, 10, 12 direct leaders, field trainers, it's just a matter of time. They're going to get good. They're going to be developing other people and they're going to go RVP. And so the thing that I did, if you think about this mentality of, here was the McDonald's brothers that started McDonald's in Southern California. And this, if you know the story, you got to watch the movie Founder. So Ray Kroc got this order. He sold these multi-mixer machines that made the milkshakes at McDonald's. And he got an order for 6 of these multi-mixers that they wanted. Now, if you remember these multi-mixers, they made about 5 at a time. And this restaurant orders 5 of them. And so, or 6 of them, whatever it was. And so he calls them up and he's getting ready to go deliver these. And he calls them up and he goes, now, are you sure you wanted 6? Was that a mistake? And they go, you know what? Make it 8. We want 8. 8. Like he thought they like made a mistake and 6 was too many. So he goes out there and he sees this. And the McDonald's brothers back then, they created this assembly line like Ford Motor Company. Okay. And the assembly line making burgers, okay, and fries and shakes and the McDonald's franchise system. So Ray Kroc walks in and he goes to the McDonald's brothers and he says, oh my God, this is amazing. And they take him on a tour and they go, you need to franchise this. You need to open up more McDonald's. They go, look at the line out there. Look at how busy we are. We are so dang busy. We can't even handle it. See, they were flipping burgers and cooking fries. So question that you got to ask yourself is, do you want to be selling fries or do you want to sell franchises? And so the McDonald's brothers, they said, we're too busy to do that. And he goes, well, why don't you give me the rights to do that? And I'll give you a percentage and I'll do it. And they go, okay, for sure, go ahead. And here McDonald's, or Ray Kroc, goes back. What did he do? Think about this. He goes back to Illinois and he builds a McDonald's. He builds the McDonald's prototype. And he builds this McDonald's, and he was a fanatic about it, keeping it clean and polished and perfect. And if, Barry, you're interested in, and we run into each other and I'm talking to you about, would you ever want to go in business for yourself? And I'd bring you to my franchise and I'd show you my franchise, which is my op meeting and my base shop and how my base shop runs. And you go, wow, yeah, I want to be a part of this. And he would sell franchises. And that's how Ray Kroc built McDonald's. And today, 40,000 or so McDonald's all around the world, and they're duplicated everywhere in the same identical thing. Well, that's the opportunity that I bought. So my thing was when I prospect people for the opportunity. I always ask people, if I prospected you, I say, so I have a 3-step process when I prospect. I'm going to break the ice. I'm going to talk to you about how beautiful the weather is, or whatever, or how, whatever, to break the ice to start a conversation. Then when we start a conversation, and the second thing is I start asking you questions. I start asking you, so what do you do? How long have you been doing that? How do you like it? How long have you lived in the area? All those kind of things to create a conversation. Now, if we have a great conversation going and you're a sharp guy and we kind of hit it off, then I'm asking you those kind of questions. And then we get into a good conversation. You get a good impression of me. I get a good impression of you. And then my third thing is I switch gears. I say, man, Barry, you seem like a sharp guy. Do you keep your options open? I'm in charge of expansion for my company in the area. And you say, yeah, I keep my options open. Great. Listen, I don't have a lot of time right now, but give me your name and number and I'll get back in touch with you. So number one, I'd break the ice. However, I'd break the ice. Number two is I start asking questions, all these qualifying questions. What do you do? How do you like it? How long you've been there? But all that stuff. And then after we get a good feel for each other, then I switch gears and then the bottom line is, listen, Barry, you seem like a sharp guy. So I kind of, give you a compliment. You seem like a sharp guy, the kind of guy I'm looking for in my business. I'm in charge of expansion for my company. Do you keep your options open? You say, yeah, great. If you say, what do you do? I say, we deal in financial services. Do you have any experience in that? No. So listen, I'll get you some more information. I'll show you a little bit about and I get your name and number. You can do the same identical thing on social media. Now, the thing is, what I did to keep the pipeline full all the time is like Haley's talking, she's getting referrals from clients. So what I figured out from when I recruited somebody and got their top 25, or I got referrals from clients, I needed to keep about 20 good more prospects a week, 20 a week.
Yeah.
So my quota was to get myself 20 good contacts a week. Now, some of these people that get 20 a day, I can't do that because I'm training people with top 25s. And I got referrals to do business with. So I kept about 20. My quota for myself was to get 20 names face-to-face, or now today with social media. If you're on social media, if you have a conversation with somebody on social media or not. I'm not talking about just doing a blast of, you got to do, whatever your quota for yourself that you got to do to create the conversations with somebody, the interactions with somebody. So if I was doing total social media, I would get 20 interactions a week where I'm interacting with you, about what you do, what I do, and that. Then I'm gonna get your name and number, and then we're gonna get an appointment together. And so that was the key things that I did. I did obviously face-to-face because we didn't have social media, but if I was doing social media, that's what I do.
And this particular Zoom is about filling your calendar. So now you can see how Haley fills her calendar a little bit. You can see how Chris, but you see the similarities. They don't blast. They get to know people. Like Chris says, break the ice, get to know people, ask a few questions, and then maybe before they go, close for a name and number and a follow-up. And you sort of see, so that's how I am. I'm like Chris is a face-to-face prospector. I'm a little bit too, like Chris is an introvert too, but he's more of a but he rode motorcycles competitively for a living, so he's not scared of anything. Whereas I'm scared of everything. I'm a chicken introvert. So what I did is I was to meet people. I would try and get names and numbers, all that kind of stuff, and I would call them later. Very similar to what Chris did. Kind of break the ice, get to know them, friends and family. Hey, just just out of curiosity, where do you live? Blah blah blah. Same sort of thing. And I have a list exactly what Chris said. I keep a list of prospects. Once I did my kitchen tables, once I did my field training, all my meetings, same as Chris, I said, okay, I got a break. I want to keep my next week full and the week after that. And so I got to call and contact these 20 people, maybe 5 every couple of days. Very, very similar.
Yep.
Okay, you guys. And the same as Chris, we were brought up in the area where we were looking for people to be RVPs in our organization. That's how we were taught. Things are a little different today in some cases, but I think what Haley smiled at is that, do you want to sell fries? Do you want to sell franchises? Is what Chris said, right? So Haley, it maybe okay. So now we've got our sort of our prospecting, appointment setting thing figured out. Chris, you're the author of the 6-page presentation. The company put the 6-page presentation into Primerica because of you. Talk to us about how you did that, how the company really, and that's what I use. That's what Haley uses. We use a 6-page presentation. Not everybody does, but talk to us about, that's the presentation you use, and you close with that and do the F&A, right? You 6-page and close. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Go ahead. Tell us how you got the 6-page going for the company.
Well, I think, like we had the flip chart, and
Yeah.
I felt like, man, I wanted to leave information with the client when I got done, because what happens is we do this awesome presentation. People love what we do. Nobody's ever explained financial education like we do. And then a lot of times we do business with people and then we leave. And we don't leave them any brochures, any information, anything. Now, obviously, this was a long time ago. So, and now today we got, a lot more stuff. But the point was, so I started seeing information that the publication was putting out in the company, and I had a talk with Hector. I said, at this time I'm making about, probably 60,000 a month, and I'm working like crazy. I'm closing, 10, 12,000 in premium a month, and I'm recruiting and I'm doing all this. And I said, Hector, look at this brochure, man. This is like backwards. Whoever's making this stuff, it's just not, it just don't flow. It don't make sense. And it's just not correct. And he goes, well, so he hooked me up with the publications, and I started working with Chess Britt at the time. And we started putting this stuff together with the publications department. And so we made it flow. We did, the company concepts, and then how to close, and then the compensation after that, how to change gears and go into recruiting after you closed them. So it was just, and then being able to do the 6-page and then leave it with them, so,
Right.
it's very, very economical, where you could, buy 100 of them. And the thing is if you do that presentation and you're explaining it to them and you leave it with them, like I always had good QBI, I never had chargeback problems. And I think it's because we educate them and we leave the material with them. And when they know what they bought and they know what their plan is, they feel a lot better about what you did for them. But a lot of times when you do business with people and you leave and you close them, and then you don't really leave nothing behind for your, support material. Like, we were always taught people make decisions based on emotion and they back it up logically. And so, we get them excited about protecting their family and the crusade and investing properly and being financially independent, and the whole theory of decreasing responsibility. And then, leaving that with them, they now know the plan. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, it does. Absolutely. And 30 years later, well, I think Chris, anyway, the 6-page has been around for 25, 30 years after Hector got Chris to do it with the company. I still use it. Haley, you still use the 6-page presentation. Tell us what your presentation, what you use
And
for
Barry,
your
by the
clients. I'm
way,
sure it's
Chris. So one of the guys I worked with also is in the distribution, selling all the, if you know who Ed is, that is in charge of the distribution of all the brochures.
Ed, yeah. Oh, for God's sake. Yeah. Ed. Yeah.
So Ed, every time I run into Ed, we laugh about this, but the #1 selling brochure in the company history is the 6-page presentation.
Wow.
How about
Doesn't
that?
that say it
For
all? That's
decades,
amazing, Chris.
decades.
And thanks for, yeah, because I remember that the flow was all disorganized all over the place. We're kind of making up, which is hard to duplicate. It's kind of like having your French fry machine all buggered up all over the place. You got to have it simple and duplicatable. So Chris did that. So, hey, talk to us about when you see a client for the first time, what do you do?
I always do, like, I use the 6 page, do like a brief presentation, but I don't just dive right into it. First thing I do is I ask them like what their experience is if they work with like an advisor or financial person before. And I want to know what their biggest worry is because I don't want to just rattle off a bunch of information at them. I want to know what their biggest financial fear is and why they
Hmm.
decided to sit down with me. And I want to hone in on that and then build on it with the rest of our concepts. So if their biggest
Hmm.
worry is that they're going to be broke and never retire, well, then we're going to focus on the investment side and talk about how debt will inhibit them from getting there if they just live in a pile of debt their whole life, and how life insurance will protect their family along the way while we build their wealth.
Hmm.
If somebody says like life insurance is like, I'm so scared that I'm going to die, some so and so passed and they had no life insurance and now I'm scared for my family. Okay, we'll focus on life insurance, and then we'll talk about, hey, we sell term insurance, it's gonna run out. So when it runs out, we need to work over the next 35 years to build your wealth. So when it runs out, it doesn't matter because now you're self-insured. So I
Hmm.
always tie them together. Like, you need to be dual licensed in this business because if our motto is literally buy term, invest the difference. If you can't help them invest the difference, you're leaving a whole pile of business on the table, and all they see you as is somebody who sells life insurance. You don't help problems. You don't. They're not a lifetime client. You'll probably never
Hmm.
see them again. You sold them a life insurance policy 20 years ago, and you're only going to hear from them when their term comes up because nobody's helped them build their wealth over that 20 years. And now they're pissed off because it's expensive and they got to renew it. So don't build a program for people, like have a process. And I don't care if somebody comes to me and says, I need life insurance right now. And it's our first meeting and they're like, I want to do it today. I'm like, I'm sorry. I have a process. I need to collect all your info. I need to figure out what's proper for you. And then I will come back. We will have a second meeting. Generally, my second meeting, we do the life insurance applications. I'm like, listen, we went through your FNA, we did your life insurance. You're probably really overwhelmed. And 9 times out of 10, they're like, yeah, it's a lot of info. I'm like, let's book a third meeting so that you can properly understand what we're going to do for your investments, because I want you to not just follow me down a dark alley. And they're like,
And
then
Haley,
people laugh and they're like, absolutely, like I want to do that. And then I book a third meeting with them, and I always book the meetings before I leave or before I
Hmm.
get off Zoom. I always book the next one. I don't leave it. Oh, just send me a text when you're available. I'm like, when are you available? What's your schedule look like? Let's book this next one before we get off this call. And
Haley,
then
you're part-time and you have over 500 million, I mean, 5 million under personal
I'm
assets under
I'm over 9.
over 9.
So yeah, Chris, she did 5 million this year. She's 9 million AUM. She did 5 million this year. Can you believe it?
Sweet.
Can you imagine how long? Go ahead. Go ahead,
Great.
guys.
Great job.
I would hate to like, a lot of people, I got licensed. I got my life insurance license in November of 2020, and I got my mutual fund one, I think February 2021. And it doesn't have to take you 5 years to get to 100,000. The first, like, I make 150 plus as a Boilermaker a year. So to me, I was like, whatever, Primerica's not working, not a big deal. I can just go to work. So I didn't really invest myself for like the first 3.5 years.
Huh.
Last year when we got laid off, so getting laid off is normal. We get laid off every winter. I don't like to work in the cold. So we got laid off at the end of September last year, and I was like, you know what? It's time. We're gonna start. Like, I'm gonna start pushing. If there's nobody on my list, that's great. We have like, you guys in the States, you can do retirement planning, like retirement plans for businesses as well. So when my list runs out, I get in my truck and I go drive around and I go harass business owners, because if you close one business owner, now you get the opportunity to sit down with all their employees. And as you're enrolling them in their group retirement, you can talk to them about, hey, we should have a one-on-one outside of work so that your whole financial plan works with what's going on at work. And people are like, well,
So
that's
this,
absolutely.
and you started this, you started to get to work at Primerica in 2023, let's say. Was that kind of when you really got after it?
October 24.
Wow. No, okay. So not even, holy smokes, barely a year when you focused and you made 50K and 100K and you do a lot of prospecting in the trades. And another quick thing, Chris. So Haley's like number 9 in all of Canada, below the
So
RVP
9
level in
million,
secure.
9
Yeah,
million
9 million
personal
AUM. Yeah,
part-time.
yeah, part-time. And and the Edge program, which is our small business program, which is disability, healthcare, dental that we can sell in Canada. She's number 1 in Canada below the RVP level for that product as well, Chris. She's a machine.
Good job. Well, you know
Yeah.
what? She's good at her product knowledge and she does a lot of appointments. It's that simple.
And I
Yeah.
finally crossed 50,000 a year of premium. I'm not very good at life insurance premium.
Right, right. And so because the security sometimes overwhelms the market to get the insurance again, but Haley has resurfaced that because of the group plan she's doing, the RCMP, or
Haley, let me
police
give you
don't
a
have
pointer.
shitty
Let
insurance.
me give you a
Go
pointer.
ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
Just make the theory of decreasing responsibility a major part of your presentation.
Oh, well, like
Because
everybody I sit down with gets life insurance, pretty much everyone, unless it's like a single guy that's got no kids and
sure.
no, doesn't matter. But I've never been able to get those big premium numbers. So crossing 50 this year, I was like, woohoo, I did it.
So 50,000 in personal premium for the
Yeah.
year.
For the year.
Yeah. So we're in 11 months. So that's about 4,000 a month.
So
Yeah.
my goal is to have, if you look at my numbers, so like I
5,000.
moved 5 million of investments and did 50,000 of premium. I'm trying to keep those numbers like correlated, if
So
that makes sense.
50,000 in premium and 5 million in investments this year so far.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Let's go to the next, because this is where Chris is Chris, this is the part 2 for Chris Howard, talking about the 5 keys of building a big base shop. So
Okay.
Chris is going to cover that. And Haley, just before we do that, just before Chris sort of sets that big vision for us, you've got some people on your team already. Do you have anybody licensed on your team yet?
Yeah, Ben out of Winnipeg's license, and then Katie, she just wrote her life exam at the province. She is eagerly waiting for those marks so she can apply. She is exactly like me, so it's going to be
And where does she
interesting to
live?
see how quick we can scale her.
Where does she live?
BC.
Oh yeah. Okay. So get this, Chris. So just as a picture. So Haley lives in Saskatchewan, which is kind of like uh, not Nebraska,
Middle of nowhere.
Utah, kind of.
Gotcha.
Well, it's the middle of the United States, right?
Okay.
And then so she's got, so next province over, which would be like Wisconsin in the United States. She's got a person there, Ben, who's licensed, and then she's got a person in my province, which is like California. So she's got 2 licensed agents on either side of her, kind of like you being in Nevada and having somebody in Utah and somebody in California. That's what Haley's got. So
Wow.
go ahead, Haley. Tell a little about that. Then Chris will talk about how he builds a big base shop. So you got 2 people licensed. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not very good at recruiting either. So Chris will
You're
give you
not
way
very
more
good at it?
pointers on that.
Okay,
These two
good, good.
actually recruited themselves. I recruited myself. So when Katie came to me, she was like, I want to do what you do. I actually work with her boyfriend. Like, he's a personal client. She's a pipe fitter. So she kind of works in the same trade as me. And she's like, I want to do what you do. Like, I have a really big interest in it. And then like I've never had to chase her to study. She booked her exams. She is on it. Like, it took her a little bit to get into the province to do her exam for her life insurance. So she's already studying for her mutual fund because she doesn't want to wait. Like, she's like ready to come out of the gate. So I think my focus in 2026 is going to be to get Ben and Katie to 50,000 each, or minimum. I would like to see them both earning 50,000 each, because my goal for my base shop is to go RVP in convention year, and I want to make over 200 by the end of next year. So big goals, and that means that I got to train my team to do that and build a little bit more of a team. I get that. I know I need people, but I need the right people, because I will not waste my time.
Well, that's
Well, you
that's
know,
why I wanted to introduce you to Chris, because he is one of the best base shop builders in all of Primerica. So Chris, take it away.
well, you know, on that topic, which I believe it's, you know, you're doing a great job, and all of you listening, you know, if you have a great kitchen table appointment, and after you're done with your presentation and you do business with that client or whatever the case, a simple question. So you say, you know, you're not a good recruiter. How do you do that? But you're waiting for people to ask you, how can I do this with you? All you have to do is add one question. Okay. You add one question to your end of your presentation when you do everything. So if I just did business with you, Haley, and I just did the presentation and, you know, maybe I collected all the data that I'm going to come back together, you know, get back together with you the second time, I would just ask you, I would say, Haley, if I could show you part-time how to make $20,000 to $40,000 a year, part-time without jeopardizing your job, would that interest you? That's all you got to say.
Yes. Okay.
And then if you say yes, I'm going to say, okay, well, let me show you how our compensation works. And I'm going to show you a little bit about that. And that's simple. That was, you know, I used to try to over explain it. And I just said, you know what? It's just like prospecting. I'm going to prospect. I'm going to ask you all the right questions. And then I'm going to say, man, Haley, you seem like a sharp girl. I'm in charge of expansion for my company. Do you keep your options open? Yes or no? And then if I say at the end of my presentation, if I say, Haley, if I can show you part-time how to make $20,000 to $40,000 a year without jeopardizing your job, would that interest you? It's yes or no. If you say no, I'm super busy. I say, okay, well, look, I look forward to getting back with you on Friday and going over all your information. And next, it's just, then I'm going to get you as a client and I'm going to get referrals. But the whole key is if you don't ask, people don't have an opportunity to answer. And it's all about asking questions. So you present and then you ask the question. Just like I don't know if they still do this, but I haven't seen the new 6-page presentation lately, but when I seen it a while ago, they took it out. And I don't know who dumbass took it out of the thing, but I do my presentation. I do the theory of decreasing responsibility. I'd say, you know, this is the problem. Most people got their money going all these different directions. And what we do is we provide a financial analysis that helps you accomplish your financial goals. So Barry, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how would you rate your desire to become properly protected, debt-free, and financially independent? And I'm not looking at a presentation right now. Okay. I was just like off the cuff. Okay. And you say 10. Okay, great. Let me get a little information from you, Barry, and show you how this works. I collect data. It's that simple. It's not hard.
Yeah.
This business is so simple, but you have to have a system. It has to be smooth and system. So anyway, just to wrap up with the 5 keys to building a base shop, and we're running out of time, so I don't have time to go into the details. But number one is you got to get wide. Okay. Getting wide means recruiting directs. You got to get wide. And so if you get wide, 3 wide, I'm talking about good, like trained, competent people, 6 wide, 9 wide, 10, 12, 15 wide. See, that's what your personal career job is you should at least get 10 good, solid, fundamentally sound field trainers. 10. Okay. If you got 12 or 15 or 20, you're going to have listen, 10 is a $50,000 base shop. 3 is maybe 15. If those of you listening are doing about 15,000 in your base shop, you got about 3 directs. If you're doing like 30, you probably have about 5 or 6 producing directs that are field trainers. If you're doing 50,000 plus in your base shop, now you can equate that to investments too. So if you got a $15,000 base shop, you're probably doing 100,000 in investments. If you have a $50,000 base shop, you're probably doing $1 million in investments in your base shop.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Million.
And so listen, if you had a $50,000 base shop and $1 million a month in securities, you're making money. You're probably $750 a year. So you got to get wide. Number 2 is you got to do it first. You got to lead by example. Okay. You got to lead by example. You got to show people this is a very easy business. When you're leading by example, you're making money, you're field training people, you go to events, you're always getting awards, you're getting promotions. People see you winning and they're following you. They know you know what you're doing. Okay. It's that clear. Number 3 is building relationships. This is the difference of building a business and not building a business. Okay. You got to build relationships. If you do a lot of assets under management, you're building relationships with your clients. If you're building a big base shop and a big hierarchy, you got to build relationships with your teammates. So you gotta be selling them the vision, when you're meeting with your leaders, building relationships, you do that. One of the things that I always did is on Saturday nights was a date night. Saturday night was my date night. And I always took a couple out. I maybe two couples, and I built relationships with them. Maybe I'm field training the husband and I got to meet the wife, and then the wife, I build a relationship with her at dinner. And then the wife is pushing the husband now, or vice versa. And I think that's important. Number 4 is build confidence. How do you build confidence? You build confidence by your example field training, by getting results, by teaching on Saturday training, or whenever you do your training, teaching what you just did, not theory, not what you did years ago, until you're totally financially independent and you have an incredible hierarchy. You need to be personally on it, getting wide, recruiting directs, building a big base shop. And number 5, big events. You got to become a master at promoting big events. Listen, you got to get out of the attitude of I'm going to this event versus having the attitude of how many I'm going to have at this event. You got to sell the crap out of tickets. That's how you move your business. You move your business with big events. Big events show the vision. When there's a big attendance, it shows the vision. A lot of times these new people that are coming, they get emotional experiences when they're hearing personal success stories. That's the whole thing about this. Big events sell personal success stories. The emotional experience that people have from it, and then building your business from event to event. We've heard that, how to build your business to event to event. So what do? So let's say you have an event right now and you have one in 3 months. Well, in between now and 3 months, you're prospecting, you're recruiting directs, you're field training people, you're promoting new districts, you're developing, and then all those op nights and trainings and appointments, you're going to recognize and get people promoted at the next big event. So you want to get as many district promotions as you can at the next event. You want to get as many people fast start bonuses and do all the different things from those big events. And that's how you promote big events. So those are my 5 keys of building a big base shop that turn into a great hierarchy, and you move this thing that way. And so anyway, back to you, Barry.
Chris, that was awesome, man. I mean, I'm glad you got those 5 tips in before we got to go to the big room. We'll kind of summarize there. That was awesome, man. Look at my notes, buddy. I know what you said, but I wrote those notes down. It was awesome. Great, man. Okay, we'll see you in the big room. Haley, thanks so much. See you guys in the big room.
We are the big room.
You are the big room.
Oh shoot, we're already here.
All right.
We are the big room. Okay, everybody's coming
Where are
into
you
our
going,
room.
Barry?
I'm going crazy. How about that? That's
Eldon's
me. I
back.
just go crazy.
Take it away.
Eldon's back. Eldon.
No, you just carry on. You know what?
Okay.
There's just so much stuff. You get FOMO because you want to be in all the different rooms, and the value that's just laid out with these multiple rooms. You just hit repeat and play it about 3 times. So, one thing too, though, that I want to second this. Haley, you just nailed it at the beginning with the efficiency of other people booking appointments for you instead of you booking every appointment yourself. Because 99% of all my appointments are all self-booked. And I think, do you do that with shortcuts on your phone as well as on the website?
I have it on all my social medias, on the website that Primerica provides us, and I supply it to all my clients. It's in my signature of my email.
The Calendly link.
I just can't emphasize that enough. You got to operate like a professional and like a doctor where people are booking appointments all the time because you're busy, you are important, and people love to go on there and choose their own time, and then they get updates and reminders. It's in their calendar, and it takes everything to a different level, and I think that people think it's a small thing, but it's a big thing.
The reminders are a big one. I have it texts them 2 hours before and 24 hours before. So if they need to reschedule, they have more than enough time to do that.
Oh, man.
Interesting. Well said.
Brad, take her away, buddy.
Look, everyone's got FOMO today. I mean, this is crazy. What a clinic that we had today. Barry's in Mazatlan, and but what a value provider bringing in people, because Barry's written a book. I showed it on the orientation that I did. How to prospect and set appointments. You can find it on Amazon. He's a specialist in that, and that's really the main thing. Just get out and do appointments, right, Chris Howard? I mean, just go do appointments. You learn the business without being on appointments.
Love it,
So-
man. Great job.
All right, great job today. I know. Hey, Mark Penny, what an opportunity 2026 is for us. You know, to build a business,